Tonight, President Trump delivered his third State of the Union address, using part of his speech to honor the families of fallen military heroes and highlight the need for choice in education, plus warn of the dangers of sanctuary state policies. The speech comes amidst chaos created in Iowa as Democrats scramble to find a candidate to oppose the president in his bid for re-election, with Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders coming out on top in the state's caucuses based on partial results. Meanwhile, Mike Bloomberg barely registered. After an app designed to make the process go smoothly failed, Iowa caucus numbers only started coming in Tuesday evening, a day late. The Democratic presidential candidates wasted no time putting Iowa behind them, arriving in New Hampshire to get ready for next week's primary. But the mess in Iowa still has everyone talking, like John Conklin of the New York State Board of Elections, who compared Iowa's process to how New York gets things done.
Iowa was a caucus conducted by the party. In New York State, we'll have a primary election that's conducted by the State Board of Elections. The equipment will be tried and true, some equipment that we've been using for years. The personnel will be experienced and highly trained in how to conduct elections.
We also heard from a tech guru who knows the ins and outs of apps.
It looks like the app was something wrong with the coding. It was recording everything that they were pressing and voting, but the results wasn't being given back to the app. And I think that's when people panic and they start calling and all the backup procedures that they had. It looks like they rushed the app, that they didn't test it truly the way they should do.
Let's bring in tonight's A-plus panel. We're joined by Jeanette Hoffman, Republican strategist. Great to see you, Jeanette.
Thanks, Bill.
And Bill Caruso, Democratic strategist and attorney. Good to see you, Bill.
Hey, Bill.
Bill, I feel like courtesy dictates I should start with you. Your party is just having some issues. But you heard the technology expert, and I had brought this up to both of you off the air, that the Department of Homeland Security, the acting director, Chad Wolf, reported that Homeland Security and their cybersecurity team said, we'll test it for you. Democrats said no. Come on.
I don't think this is a technology problem. No, I'm not afraid of technology. I think this is a caucus problem. And you and I talked a little bit about this. I was out there. I had the privilege to be out there in 2004, and I was enamored by this process. Democracy in action, American citizens going to gymnasiums and talking with one another. No more. We don't have time for that anymore.
You think the ship is sailed?
No, because here's what's happening now. You have social media organizing people. We're paying kids with pizza to show up here en masse. Most people are at home in their living rooms. Go to the polls and vote like normal people in a primary election. That's how we should do this.
Like Bill, Jeanette, I had spent time in Iowa in the 90s. The caucus is like democracy in action. I loved every part of it. But is it time to really embrace technology and move forward? And if so, should it be taken out of the hands of the party bosses?
Yeah, well, if you thought the Democratic Party was rigged, like the Bernie supporters thought last election, this totally proves it. The DNC blew it. The Democratic Party is in disarray, and the only person who won the Democratic caucus in Iowa was Donald Trump. He called it, this has been an unmitigated disaster. Candidates that showed up to Iowa for months wasted staff resources, they wasted time, and they wasted money.
Bill, to that point, is the ideology now getting in the way of the actual process? Not working with the federal government because Trump is president seems to me very short-sighted and foolish.
Yeah, to some extent, although I don't know that the federal government really need to play a role here. I think government can play a role. County governments play a role in elections. State governments play a role in elections. And government should. But I think it should be centralized. I thought Pete Buttigieg had a great night. He declared victory and got the heck out of Dodge and went to New Hampshire. It was smart.
It was a smart play to take advantage of the chaos. Online voting, you see a future?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think that is the future of this country.
I do my banking on my app.
There you go.
Why can't I just
don't give out your password?
Vote, right? I can't remember my password. Come on. Thanks, guys.